One, two, three. Hello, everyone. It's Wilka Nascimento. I am the Leadership Talks podcast host. And today I have Mirian Ortega with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, and welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. Oh my gosh. It's been so long since I've seen you. You look amazing.
Thank you, and so do you. Love keeping up
Yeah.
with all your news and your podcasts. So it has been quite some time
Oh
since
my
we've seen each other.
gosh. Yeah, it's been forever. Like I remember, when I was in New York City, and you were already a director of sales. It's been probably 10, 15 years that I lived in New York. And, I was just starting in this sales career as well. But yeah, this is amazing. Thank you for accepting the time, and this is really a channel where I invite, hospitality women in hospitality leaders that you can share your story and you can share how you started in this business. So the mic is yours.
Well, thank you. How I started here, well, not here, right? In the hospitality business. I actually started in the hospitality business, I guess by destiny, right? My plans were to either become a teacher, join the service, my passion was to travel as much as I can while I do while I make a living. So I decided to I decided to attend college and I decided to major in hotel and restaurant management. I was in a personal situation where I needed to get into a career quickly or quicker than what I was expecting to. And I decided to major in restaurant management, seeking that opportunity to be able to travel and work at the same time. I didn't know back then what department I was going to major on or wanted to pursue. But my first experience in the hospitality was part of my internship program for that I needed to complete in order to graduate. And I started as a concierge back in 2003 at one of the courtyards in Midtown Manhattan. And right after that, I was hired to permanently be an employee as a concierge, which is one of my most favorite jobs ever that I've had. And that's how my career started in hospitality back in 2003, right off of college.
Oh my gosh. We have a similar story because I also went, and decided that I wanted to do hospitality in college. And, I remember back in Brazil, people were like, what is that? It's like,
It was
my God,
foreign.
you're going to study what to,
Yeah.
work in a hotel. But hey, I'm glad you did that because also, the more I talk to people, the more I know that it's not everybody that went to school for it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is definitely, many universities and many programs in community colleges as well are focusing in hospitality field, for this new generation, right? And we definitely need. I wanted to ask you, Miriam, what is your suggestions for the young girls that are coming to start college? Since we are in this topic that we both started our careers back in the college days in hospitality.
Yeah, absolutely. So to your point, back in the days, no one, not wouldn't say no one, but a lot of people didn't understand what hospitality meant, what business management or hotel restaurant management meant, and everyone didn't understand what you're going to school for, right? It was also back in the days a industry that was not dominated as strongly by women as it was by men. So it was a little more challenging to get into and get that opportunity, right? But I think that today, thankfully, everything has changed. And to your point, many universities, community college, trade schools are offering this as a major in their programs. And I think that there is still a lot of work that needs to be done to be broadcast out there of the possibilities to reach a career through this field. I believe that us as women have so much more skills that with that saying men don't to succeed. I think that persistence, personal branding, which you're amazing at, and networking are all really components that help you grow upwards in this hospitality industry. And I believe that and I'm a firm believer that in order to succeed into the next step in your career, you have to believe in yourself, what you do. You have to believe in the company you're working with, whoever it is. And you have to make it a passion. You can't think of it as a career. So if you're a young female looking for what career to choose, I think that is important that you make sure that you're choosing, whether it's hospitality or anything, that it is a passion and you're not doing it as a job only. When you choose it as a passion and something you're going to enjoy, every day, no matter what it is of that job career, is going to be rewarding for you. So I think that the key component to what to do when choosing or how to get into hospitality would be just having the passion for it, the devotion for it. That'll mark your success in that career in this industry. And I'm an example of that. I still love my job. I still come in and I'm excited about it. And it's 20 years. And I'm not, tired of it. I might get tired some days, but I still love it. And I think that's the key component. You have to enjoy it. Hospitality, like any other industry, is either in for you or it's not. And I think that's just the main key factor.
Absolutely. And I think you are in the most excited place in city in the world for this hospitality to flourish, right? Like New York City and Manhattan is definitely like one of my top spots that, I want to go every weekend. I want to do the travel, DC, New York, but obviously, I have responsibilities here too. But do you have, Mirian, a female, a women mentor that when people ask you, oh, how did you come from concierge to director of sales in Manhattan, right? Like it's super popular place where everybody wants to be. So do you have anyone that you wanted to shout out?
Yes, I actually have quite a few female mentors that I've met throughout my years in the industry. But one that really has meant a lot and has helped me a lot through the years since the beginning is Ellen Barrera. She's actually she was at one or two occasions my director of human resource. And how I met Ellen Barrera, who's also a professional in the hospitality industry, is through an interview. I was trying to get into, I believe, my second job in the industry, and I met Ellen in an interview, and we just the synergy was there, the chemistry was there, and I didn't get the job. She brought me in and she told me that she already had filled the position, but she wanted to meet me because the resume just looked interested and she wanted to just meet me. And that's when I truly learned. I always say this story. I truly learned the importance of networking. What Ellen was doing, which I didn't understand back then because I was just fresh off of college, was networking to make sure that she has a candidate when she gets another position and she needs to fill it in. Filling up her funnel, right? Just like what I do in sales, making sure you have your pipeline on the works. And so Ellen taught me a lot since day one, and she's been always a mentor to me. Today we're friends, 20 something years later. So I truly, I'm appreciative and thankful to Ellen for coming into my career and into my life as a friend now. So, but along the way, there's so many others that I wouldn't end today naming all of them, which I'm so grateful for.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That happened. I was like smiling over here and let you talk because that happened to me. But my story, you know, because when you are in New York City, and I was actually moving from Maryland back then, coming to New York, I had zero experience in any hotel in New York. So it was really difficult to even have that chance. I interviewed with like half of Manhattan, entire Brooklyn, entire
Yep,
Queens.
same here.
You know, until I got something. But I met this lady, and she was director of sales. She was like a dual manager, dual property, right? And she didn't hire me. But then today, you know, I look up to her, and I'm always like, you know, I understand why, you know, she didn't hire, because, you know, the interview was great and
Yeah,
we had the synergy and all of that, but it's not about if you got the position at that time or not. It's like you said, right? 20 years down the road, I still follow her career. She still follow my career. We still, you know, talk like we're, what is it? Colleagues in the industry now. And, you know, we never know, right? Like who, or what are opportunities and who are sitting on those positions to make a decision to give you that opportunity. But within that, you know, you touched into a point that I love, right? The networking piece and then the personal branding. Miriam, how important do you think the networking in New York City hospitality industry is for you to, you know, achieve your goals in the end of the day in your position?
uh, again, I'm gonna have to go back to Ellen. I didn't realize how much she has she has helped me. So actually, Ellen did hire me, and I'll tell you that it's gonna tie up into your question. Um, she didn't hire me that time. She brought me in. She told me she had filled the position, but she wanted to meet me because she wanted to. My resume looked interesting to her, so I didn't get the job then, right? But I got a call from her. I think a year later, I get an email. I'd like to meet you for this position. And I'm like, wait, I know this lady. And she remembered me from that time that she met me. And we got to work in two separate companies down the road through the years. And she did hire me after all. So there goes your personal branding. And she told me when I met her that she was very impressed. I was very young and I was very mature, and the personal branding was very reflected, and the love for the industry, the hospitality piece of it was in me. And that left her an impression. And that's how I got that job that I did at that time when she called me back. So personal branding is very, very important to me. I believe in trademarking your name in the sense of not necessarily going to get a trademark and stamp it, but basically the impression you leave to a client, to colleague, to peer is who you will be remembered as. And I've always considered my name very, very important. I want not only to achieve the next step, and my personal branding is not only to get to the next job, but also to help develop others, my team, people that I work with, anyone that I can help, or the things that I might be a mentor to them. And I've done it in so many different occasions. So I think that networking, personal branding are the key components to succeeding in this industry. It's really it reflects you. You can't walk around with your resume saying what company you work with, right? But you could definitely promote through channels such as this one or through LinkedIn who you are as a professional. So I always encourage my team to make sure that we're out on networking events, we're going to trade shows, and then we're constantly breaking the ice to talk to people that we're not that comfortable with, because that's how you create and expand your network. Um, I've had, I have so many stories to say where I've met so and so, and then down the road, we either done business together, or I've been working for that company or that person. So it's all about your personal branding. It's all about your networking. And I take high importance on that. Just like I've seen you do it. It really defines who you are as a professional, and it defines hospitality within you. You're not shy. And for me, I'm in sales, and I think you are as well. So it's kind of showing what you do on a day-to-day basis, right? You do marketing, and you're marketing yourself or your product, whatever it is that you're selling at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, back in New York, there's so many ways, right? Like so many events. I was like overwhelmed when I first started. I was a director of sales in property in Queens, but I was just so busy going to all of these events, and a huge shout out, by the way, to New York City, travel and tourism folks. I love this organization so much. I just think that their events are so motivational, inspirational. And really, right, if you reach out to those people that are promoting your city, or it doesn't need, right? Like, I'm not talking about just New York, but also it doesn't need to be a big city that people know. Like, I lived in California in a small town by Silicon Valley. Everybody knows where Silicon Valley is. So that was my point of reference when
Mhm.
I would meet, prospects for the hotel that I represented at the time. But also, I believe that for us Latinas, right, I want to get to that point. It can be a little bit easier as well to communicate because in New York, there's so many international travelers. And, once we start speaking Spanish or Portuguese or you name it, right, people get more comfortable. You break that
They
barrier
do.
right off the bat. So what would you did you feel the same, like that it was easier for you because you could communicate in both languages with people, or you had a different, experience?
So I grew up in New York, lived in New York, but I was lucky enough through my years to work in different markets, Texas, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Arlington, to name a few, right? But I think New York obviously is the biggest exposure of them all. So I had a mixture of both as a Latina. At the beginning of my career, I felt that it was a little bit of a challenge, but I actually turned it around. The challenges that I've encountered as a Latina, I turned them all around. To your point, there's been plenty of opportunities where I either connected with a peer, someone in the industry, or clients a lot of times, depending also the market, where you spoke to them in Spanish, whether it is directly or via email on a word or two, kind of telling them that, yes, obviously my name says it all, Mirian Ortega, but letting them know that I do speak Spanish, that I can understand it, making them feel more comfortable when dealing with international markets, Argentina, Mexico, any of those Latin American countries. People feel more comfortable. People feel like someone's listening to me. I'm There's a connection, there's a synergy. And it's helped me so many times to win pieces of business, to make connections, to make a recent story is that I helped a travel agent from Argentina. And one day I just walked into my office and I had a beautiful little gift. And I'm like, who sent me a gift? It had happened like weeks before, but I helped him with his client, and I take care of his client and make sure that he's VIP. And this person, thought that I went a long way, along with my email in Spanish, letting them know everything will be good. And I had a little gesture, and it's not about the gift; it was just the thought and the time that they took to appreciate that. So I definitely think that being a Latina has helped. It helps more than ever, being able to communicate. And even on the operational level, um, walking down to housekeeping and saying hello, good morning, and then chatting with the ladies that are Spanish. And, they're listening to music sometimes as they're waiting to get their stuff to get their day going. And I can relate to them or say, like, oh, my mom listens to that, or something that connects. You can tell how identified they feel. And it's really, really like rewarding, whether it's through clients, but most importantly, even through our associates. So I think I'm blessed to be a Latina in the American culture and the corporate world.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful story. And I just, for me, I'm like, I'm always I'm like, what is that food? Where are you getting that from? Oh, okay. I want some taquitos, I want some arepas. Give me some of that. And then we did when I'm back on property, we had potlucks, right? Often.
Yeah.
And then I would bring some, from Brazil and we would all exchange. But also, I totally agree. People, when you share, hey, I need this room to be, 100% definitely, feel good, smell good, everything perfect. They understand because the way you're communicating with them in those meetings, like stand-ups, right, with the housekeeping manager, or why not? But also, I think, on the synergy and the culture of the hotel, on your quarterly, we had bingos. Oh my God, we had bingos. And I was like, oh my God. And my GM was always like, Wilka, please relax. Okay. You are not playing, you're helping us right now to play bingo. But it's always like so much fun because we can relate. We can also serve as a role models for them because
Yes.
if I got to where I am today, you can also do that, right? You just need
100%.
focusing yourself. And all often, I said, I've done what you did, what you do, right? I've been at the front desk, I've been, shadowing, the housekeeping manager, and always pushing them because, the language is definitely something that we can communicate and do better, but also influencing them to take part and be like, hey, be better in English as well, right? So
Yep.
it's a way for us to motivate them and show them that it is possible. Um, but I wanted to, just shifting here, like towards your team, because I really liked what you said. What is your leadership style, Miriam, with your, sales team and with the hotel, as a whole? If you can talk to us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a team of 6. Um, I've had various teams. I'm very happy to say now, years later, into director level. Many of people who worked with me, whether it was as a coordinator, whether it was even as a front desk agent, or even as a sales manager, many of them today are directors. And when I look at their success, it makes me so proud. I get emotional to see that perhaps I have helped a little on whether it is coaching, whether it is training, whether it is even maybe at times being a little strict with them to help them get to the next step, or maybe even just helping them with an opportunity. I have all types of stories with so many of them. So a lot of my previous or former sales managers today are directors, which have opened hotels, working for brands. Very, very, very proud of it. And I think that's the best. So my style is that we're all coworkers. I hold a different title perhaps, but we work together and we're a team. I have big responsibilities as a director of sales, revenues to hit, budgets to achieve, so many goals to make it happen. But I also have the control of how I promote that over and how I communicate that to my team. And if I communicate to them in a calm manner, they're going to execute in a calm manner. If I help them set up goals on how we're going to get to this, it will help them get there. And overall, we're helping each other and we're all being successful. I also like to make sure that I always educate my team, although they might know more than me. Sometimes just explaining a little more than why am I asking you for this, as opposed to just send me the report of what you did for this week. That could be a style, right? As opposed to like, hey, were you able to meet this client? And what do you think the potentials of, business in that client are, or that account? Or how should you prospect? Or what about this way? Did you look them up in LinkedIn? Did you just trying to find ways, the most basic ways to get to a client is always a way for me to teach them without them even noticing that I'm really trying to teach them. And then also just just being there with them and listening to them. And also being there when things don't go the right way and there's mistakes. Is your reaction winning their trust? That they will look at you as a leader and lead by example. You want professionalism, you have to provide that to them. You want respect, you provide that to them, right? And at the end of the day, we're all friends here. We work hard, but we also have fun. So that's my style. My style is always like, let's get business done. We're gonna have fun. Let's achieve those numbers and recognition. I'm a huge fan of recognition. I think that it's very important to constantly recognize your team for the smallest and the biggest achievement, whether it is your 1 month anniversary or whether it is you hit $1 million in bookings. And just asking them, what is it that you want out of your career next? And how can I help you get there?
Amazing, amazing, Miriam. I appreciate you sharing this, because also it's about how you want it to be treated, right? Like if you want people micromanaging you, but do you have a micromanage, general manager or area, right? VP of sales. So if they allow you to do your job, you're, trickling them down to your team. That's beautiful. But yeah, we are getting, to the end of our podcast conversation here at the Women in Hospitality series. And I wanted to thank you, Miriam, for taking the time. I know it's Friday. Woohoo! Hopefully, you're going to have an amazing weekend. But any final words to the listeners of the Leadership Talks podcast?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I think it's an amazing month to recognize women in general across the board on all industries. But if I can give a word of hope for anyone starting their career or in their career currently in the hospitality industry, I would just say continue on networking, building strong relationship. That will really, really mark where you're going and help you get to where you're going. And take a risk, take on a challenging role, challenging project. If it's scary, it's going to help you. It's the time for you to showcase your skills. Take the risk, just go for it. And it will happen. It'll come through. So I think we as women can always figure a way once given the opportunity. So take it when it comes.
Yay. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and have a good one, everybody. Until the next episodes. Bye bye.
Bye bye.